Greetings and welcome to Hexed Countered. I'm Joe. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a brand new baseball game. It is called Baseball Card GM, and it is from Weaver Media Group. And the game is designed by Matthew Weaver and was inspired by his son Garrett. And we're going to take a look at this. You use regular baseball cards from the 1980s to today, and the stats basically on the cards to play baseball. So, looks like a fun game. I'm going to bust out some of my old cards and give this a whirl. So here is the rule sheet. It's pretty simple. As you can see, there's not a lot on here. One page. You can see it's for 7 and up. It's a 2-player game, as a lot of baseball games are, of course, but that doesn't mean you can't play it solitaire. I need to stop bumping the table so the camera will stop shaking. And it's 30 minutes or so, 30 plus, it says, for a 9-inning game. Works best with baseball cards from the 80s to today. You get a play mat, which we saw a moment ago, this rule sheet, a couple dice, and 4 game markers. So this is, of course, just a piece of the game mat. You can kind of see the headings over here. This is where you put your batting order. So we've got the eighth place hitter here, 7 here, and 6 on that side. This is the visitor side. As you can see, the tours here. And then Ho of home is over here, with 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and then it goes, of course, that way. And then you have your base runners here, and it's pretty straightforward. Everything is on the mat in terms of the lookups, and you just use your two dice, roll them, and look at the stats on the cards, and that's how you're going to play the game. So we're going to walk through it and give it a whirl, and see what it's all about, and hopefully give you guys an idea of the game. I will throw a link to the website where you can get more information on the game or purchase it. It is www.baseballcardgm, all one word, .com. And as I said, I'll throw that in the description so you can easily find it. But for now, I'm going to change my shot here so we can get down to some gameplay. So here you have a full look, right? So you have your 2 teams. You've got some pitcher spots here. You've got your batting order here for the visiting team. The home team is on that side. They have the same thing, batting order, obviously facing the player. So from our perspective, as we're looking at it right now, sitting across the table, this would be upside down to you. And then their pitchers go here. We've got our innings for marking here, and our visitor and home score here. Obviously outs, the bases, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Pretty straightforward. And then over here you have all your keys for play. It's like I said, it's pretty straightforward. You're looking at the stats on the baseball card, and that will tell you, and then you roll your dice, you get a result, it tells you what happened. So the baseball card set I'm going to actually use is this one. So I have a few full sets, most of them from the 80s and 90s when I was really into collecting baseball cards. And this is the 1990 Fleer set. So I will pull out some cards. I was just flipping. I was looking through all my baseball cards, trying to figure out what to use, and I'm going to just kind of pull some stuff out of here, and we'll give it a go. So this is the full set. At the time, it was the 10th anniversary edition. Of course, this is 35 years old now. The cards inside are still in pretty good shape. All right, so just randomly picking something out. Let me turn one sideways here so I keep my spot, because they are in order, I believe. So we've got the Tigers right at the top, so maybe we'll use the Tigers, and then maybe pull somebody out here to pitch, and set a lineup and all that good stuff, right? So maybe the Tigers are the first. There's Jack Morris. Maybe we'll give him the nod, right? So this is the 90 set. The stats on here would obviously be from the 89 season. You can see their stats here. This is Jim Clancy. So obviously this is the Houston Astros. They're in alphabetical order. So maybe we'll play the Astros against the Tigers. And so you can see at the bottom, you've got his stats, right? He split that. Actually, no, 88, he was with the Blue Jays. And all the way up from his minor league days, he was with the Blue Jays. And then in 89, he was with the Astros, and he was actually pretty bad. That ERA is ugly, 7-14 record. So maybe we'll just go ace versus ace. But these are the stats, right? And so there are a list of stats that you would need. Let's find ourselves a hitter. Here, Tracy Jones. So Tracy Jones was an outfielder, and you can see his stats. And we'll just use the most recent year. So in '89 for the Tigers, he hit .259. And you get all the stats there. You know, your runs, hits, doubles, triples, homers, RBIs, stolen bases, walks, and strikeouts. Those are pretty much what you need. So maybe I'll keep these out for a moment and find the rest of the Astros. So I'm going to take a moment here and set everything up, and then we'll get right into gameplay, and we'll just kind of walk through how the game works at a basic level, and then start talking about some of the other layers that they've laid on top of your just basic gameplay, like drafting with your baseball cards and everything. I mean, if you're a big baseball card collector, this is a really, really cool idea. I mean, obviously today you can go on the internet and get any kind of stat you want, going all the way back to the 1870s, right? But this is cool because if you have a big baseball collection, or maybe you just want something you can play with your kids that they can relate to, because of the baseball cards or whatever, this seems to me like a pretty brilliant idea, and it's been done in various forms before. But this has, like I said, some extra layers on top of just your basic gameplay. So it's a very intriguing concept, and I appreciate Mr. Weaver giving me an opportunity to play this game so you guys can see it. Okay, so before we begin, I've laid all the cards out face up. Now, when we play, we'll probably flip them over so we can see the stats, because we'll need those to reference. So I also set them so they're all facing down this way so that they're readable both to me and to you guys, since I'm doing this solo. So the Tiger lineup is going to go from left to right as we're looking at it. And the Astros, who are the home team, are going to go from right to left. So this is their leadoff man, Gerald Young. Leadoff man for the Tigers is Gary Pettis. I think I have all the positions covered. We have 1, 2. Wait, I have 4 outfielders. Who am I missing? I'm missing third base. Hang on a second. Okay, so it turns out that the third baseman is Rick Shue, or Doug Strange, or Chris Brown, none of whom were carded by Fleer that year, apparently. So we're going to borrow Brooke Jacoby here from the Indians, and he's going to be their third baseman at bat ninth, and Tracy Jones will go to the bench along with Mike Heath. This is a fairly shallow set in terms of hitters, because we have our 8 here, right, without him, and then 2 more. That's only 10. And there's, a bunch of pitchers. So it is what it is. We're gonna get going, because I know, because I checked it, that the Astros are good. So this is the visitor. That's the home team. Now let's talk about how we play, since we're already 8 minutes in here and we haven't played yet. Okay, so as the Tigers are the visitor, we'll flip over their hitter here, and it's Gary Pettis. And you can see now he's got numbers, right? His average, 257. And then the other things you would be looking at would be things like home runs, doubles, triples, etc., as well as walks and RBIs. So based on what we have here we have a home run column, triple, double, average, walk, hit, and RBI. Each one is activated by a combination of the dice. So if you roll snake eyes, that's a home run, and if it's less than 15, it's a single, but if it's over or equal to 15, it's a home run. And you would look at his card, and you'd say, okay, he had 1 home run because Gary Pettis was not a power hitter. That's a single. Okay, so I'm going to leave him flipped over, and I'll just roll here on the diamond for now, since nobody's on base. The other thing is the pitcher. Now you see this up here. I don't know if you can read it, but it says if ERA less than or equal to 2.25, or wins equal or over 16, or saves equal or over 36, then you would use these to adjust. This is an advanced rule, but it's fairly straightforward, so I think we'll use it. So in this case, we're looking at Mike Scott. Mike Scott that year won 20 games. Okay, he had a 3.1 ERA. He had won 20 games. He was pretty good, though not as dominant as he was in '86. So with that being the case, he's going to adjust some of these these results. And we'll talk about that here in a moment. Let me roll. We got a 4 and a 6. So 4s are here. You have 4, right? 4 and 4. Where's 4 and 6? 4 and 6 is RBI. Okay, so his RBIs are actually, let's see, what is his RBIs? Oh, that's Mike Scott. Okay, we'll leave him there. I'm looking for Pettis' RBIs, right? He's got 18, which is less than. So that would be a ground out. Okay, now I'm not going to keep a box. I'm not going to keep a score sheet here. We're just going to play it out. So that would give them 1 out. So we'll move this to 1 out. And the visitors are up in the first inning, and there are no runs, right? We've got our markers here. We'll just use them on the track to keep track of who's up and so on. All right, so now we've got Lou Whitaker. Oh, and the RBI total there would have been, since it was Wright versus, I think he was a switch hitter. Yep, he was a switch hitter. So that would be left on right. Right versus left, left versus right would be a +10. So here we look at Lou Whitaker. Okay, he's 251 hitter, and he had 28 home runs. So pretty solid, right? Lou Whitaker was a pretty good player. Got a 1 and a 3, which is right here. That's the triple column. Okay, so this is low, and it's going to be an out because it's such a low roll. So you would look at his triple totals, and he had 1. And 1 would be less than 4, so that would be a K. Now again, you would also, because he's a lefty, you would add 1 to his roll, or 1 to his total, I think. Yes, you would add 1 to his total, I guess. So in this case, that would be a 2, which would still be less than 4. So it didn't really matter. So that's 2 outs. Now we've got Chet Lemon. He's a right-handed hitter, that I do know. And this is his card. He only hit 237. So let's take a roll here. And we got a 1 and a 2 this time. That's a home run. But he would have had to have hit over 40, and he hit 7. So that is not a home run. That is instead a fly out. So that's the 3rd out. We go to the bottom of the 1st, reset that. And now we flip over Frank Tanana, the crafty old lefty veteran. Look at all those stat lines on his card. In 89, he was 10 and 14, 3.58 ERA. So he does not qualify to adjust the hitters on the Astros. And they're going to work right to left, as I mentioned. We'll start with Gerald Young. So here's Gerald Young. He is up. Let's see what we get here. We got 2 and 2. So we look for 2 and 2. It's right here under average. His average was 233. So it's over the 233. So he gets a single and he goes to first base. Okay, now we can steal if we want to, or try a steal. He had 34 stolen bases. He was pretty fast. That's why he's the leadoff man. So looking at the rolls here, with 39, he'd be safe on a roll of 1 through 4 with our single die. So let's give it a shot. He got a 6, so he's out. So he's caught stealing. And that's the risk you take when you play risky games, right? All right, now we move on to Craig Biggio here. He was a catcher back then, and he hit 257, and he had good speed, and also was he had some decent hitting numbers. So we'll roll. We got a 3 and a 5. So 3-5, let's find it. 3-5 is hit. So this is actually going to be a K, I guess. Because it says less than 100 is a K and greater than 100 is also a K. And I don't think he had a lot of strikeouts. 64. So that would be less than 100, but it still says K, so he's also out. Now we got Kevin Bass. He was a switch hitter, 3-5. And 3-5 is, we just saw this, right? 3 and 5, I think, is the same thing. So he's also going to end up getting struck out. Now, Frank Tanana, when he was young, was a pretty good strikeout pitcher. His Bass's stats, he was a 300 hitter that year and only struck out 44 times. But if you look at Frank Tanana's early career when he was with the Angels, you see these strikeout numbers. He was over 200 3 years in a row and had 180. So from 75 to 77, he topped 200 Ks a year. They had him and Nolan Ryan at the same time, so that was pretty tough on hitters, I imagine. You had the lefty fireballer and the righty fireballer. Of course, Nolan Ryan is the king of strikeouts. So now we go to Fred Lynn, the wily veteran by this time in his career. He got 44 or 4-4, and 4-4 is right here. Graded less than 160 hits is a K. And I was looking at the wrong thing. It's hits, not Ks. The Ks aren't on here. So less than 160 hits, which he did because he didn't play the whole year. So he has 85. So that's a strikeout for Mike Scott. So that's 1 out. And you can see the game moves really quickly because you're just doing quick lookups after a dice roll. So this is Gary Ward. And I forgot to adjust, but we got a 1 and a 5. So I forgot to adjust for Mike Scott is what I mean. 1 and 5 is right here. Double. Okay, so this is, he's a righty, I believe. Yes, right versus right would be +6. So we're going to add 6 to his double total, which was 16. So that would make it a double. That seems counterintuitive, and maybe I'm reading it wrong. It seems like that should be minus. It should be minus. Let me read the rule here. When certain pitchers that increase the cutoffs on the outcome, okay, so for instance, when facing a quality, it's the number you have to get, not the number on your card. Okay, so it would increase the number he needs to get from 15 to 21, which he does not have. He had, 10. He would have failed it either way. That is still a double. I feel like that should be single because that's what this one is. Maybe this is just a misprint on the mat, because to have, that's like not a check at all. If you roll a 1-5, it's automatically a double, I guess. Okay, well, we'll go with what it says on the mat, and we'll put Ward on second. Brings up Dave Bergman, the first baseman. He gets a 2-4. The 2-4 is this average. If it's under 300, it's a strikeout. It's probably under 300. Would be my guess, and it is 266. So he strikes out. That's 2 outs. Ward still at second, and Alan Trammell is up. He gets a 1-4 as well. It seems like a popular result. Now he's righty on righty, so that's going to add 2. So it needs to be less than 11 is a strikeout. We're looking at triples, so it's probably a strikeout. And greater than or equal to 11. So I don't think he had 11 triples that year. No, he had 3. So he strikes out as well, and that ends the inning. Go to the bottom of the second. You get the idea how this game kind of flows. Really simple and straightforward. Great game for kids because there's no math or any kind of like extra lookups and stuff that you have to do. It's just read the dice, look at what you're looking for, go to the card, and there it is. Really, really straightforward. All right, so our leadoff man now is Glenn Davis, so Astros first baseman. And we got a 1-2, so that's a home run check. Now, he did have good power. We don't get an adjustment for Frank Tanana because he wasn't in his prime anymore. So a 1-2, we need greater than a 40 as a home run. Now, he did not have 40, but he did have 34. So you can see there that that was pretty good, but not good enough. So that's a fly out. That brings us to Terry Poole, 2-3. So 2-3 is right here. Average, less than 250 is a ground out. Over 250 is a single. I think he's over 250, but I'm not sure. Yep, 271. So he's on with a single. We're not going to try to steal with him because he wasn't that fast. We do have one out. And let's go to Ken Caminiti. He was young back then, early in his career, 3-3. And a 3-3 is right here. We're looking at walks. Less than 80 is a pop out. Greater or equal to 80 is a walk. So he probably did not have 8. No, he had 51. So he pops out. So that's 2 down with Terry Poole sitting on first. And we've got Glenn Wilson up. 55. 55 is in the RBI column. So this is going to be an out, either a ground out or a fly out. So we're looking at RBIs less than 50. So let's see, how many RBIs did he have? He had 15 because he didn't. Well, let's combine the two. It won't make any difference. But he had 64 for the year because he had 49 with the Pirates and 15 with the Astros because he was traded. So either way, it's an out. In this case, that would make it. You can do, I mean, if you just use his Astro total, it's a ground out. If you use his combined total, it's a fly out. Pick your poison. And so then we would go on to the third, and you get the idea of how the game plays. For length purposes, I won't go into it. I think it's very obvious how this works. One thing I didn't talk about is your pitchers, and you can only use them as many innings as their innings pitched. So if we look at Frank Tanana, that year he pitched 223 and, is that a 1? 2/3. Print on these cards is really small. So he would be here and would have a max of 7 innings. And then Mike Scott threw 229. So he would be in the same area of max 7 innings. Anything up greater than or equal to 240, you would get 8. So in theory, there's no way to get a complete game, I guess, unless you house rule something that if a guy's rolling along, you can give him a little extra push, or maybe you don't do this for that inning or whatever it may be. Because it's a baseball game and it's a game in general, right? And people house rule games constantly. So again, this is the URL if you want to go to the site and check it out. They also have an email address and Instagram, I think is what that is. So there you have it. That is a look at the game. Other rules that we didn't get to because they didn't come up. A ground out with a forced runner is a double play. There are no triple plays. It gets the lead forced runner and the batter at first. Ground outs advance non-forced runners 1 base. Pop outs don't advance any runners. Fly outs advance the lead runner from second to third or from third to home. On base runners may advance an extra base on a hit if there are 2 outs or they have more than 10 stolen bases, 10 or more stolen bases. So that basically covers all the rules. So you can see that this is a pretty straightforward game. So in conclusion, definitely a good game to play if you have a large card collection and or have kids that you are either already really into baseball or you think you can get them into baseball. I know when I was a kid, I had tons of baseball cards. We'd flip them in the schoolyard at old PS 27 in Jersey City, New Jersey. And, you know, it's always a bummer when you lose your cards, but I also won some cards and, you know, sometimes I wish I still had those cards, some of them anyway, from the early 80s. But it is what it is. Those days are long ago. But I do have a decent card collection, just nothing all that recent, really. But that's going to do it for this. So I would say this game gets a thumbs up from me. It, it's very simple and straightforward. Great way to learn baseball. Great way to get into it. Great way to use your cards. So definitely a thumbs up. Recommend. For those of you, as I said, who are baseball fans, have a lot of baseball cards, or just want to have something you can easily play with your kids, or have your kids play by themselves, or whatever it may be. All right. So in conclusion, I want to thank my members, who have channel memberships. There are currently 4 of them. as I am doing this, and hopefully that won't change because this graphic would no longer be accurate if it does change. But anyway, thank you to those 4 individuals for being members, not subscribers, although they are also subscribers. And speaking of which, thank you for being a subscriber if you are, and if you are not, please consider subscribing. And even if you don't want to do those things, maybe you'll consider a like or a share to help spread the word about this video and the channel in general. And yeah, even if you don't do any of those things, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll come back and check out something else down the road. Comments, questions, put them in the comment section. I will do my best to get back to you ASAP, as they say. But we are done for now. I am Joe. This is Hexed Countered. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.